Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. On today's show, we're taking a look at what might become one of the fastest and most pronounced dislocations of the rental housing market across America. But first, my team at our development company, Y Street Capital, has an opportunity that's available for accredited investors residing in the United States. We'll be hosting a webinar on Tuesday evening where we'll be sharing the details of this new investment opportunity. Of course, any investment is only available to qualified accredited investors residing in the U.S. It will be by prospectus only and in compliance with SEC regulations. To learn more or to register for the webinar, send an email to info@victorjm.com and put webinar in the subject line. We'll be happy to get you registered for the webinar. Again, send an email to info@victorjm.com and put webinar in the subject line. On today's show, we're taking a look at a major shift in rental housing. This change is a direct result of the rapid increase in interest rates. A lot's been written in recent months about the so-called lock-in effect. I recently attended a talk by Dr. Doug Duncan, chief economist at Fannie Mae. He was speaking at a real estate meetup in Silicon Valley last week where he shared a tremendous amount of data that the lender Fannie Mae uses to understand what's happening in the housing market. In his talk, Dr. Doug Duncan shared that 90% of existing residential mortgages in the U.S. are more than 100 basis points, that is a full percentage point, below current interest rates. And furthermore, 70% of residential mortgages are a full 2 percentage points below current mortgage interest rates. If these people sell their homes and buy a replacement home, their housing costs will go up dramatically just due to the increase in interest rates. Financially, these people cannot afford to sell. They're locked into their current low interest rate mortgage. This is going to put tremendous amount of pressure on new supply entering the market. And this is exactly what we're seeing in the current market. There are very few homes for sale. Prices have stabilized after falling in the fourth quarter of last year. In many markets, we're seeing prices rising again due to the shortage of supply combined with the excess of demand. And of course, it makes no sense to look at the averages because the averages obscure what's happening in the real economy. We see that homes at the affordable end of the spectrum are continuing to fly off the shelf. Homes at the luxury end of the spectrum are taking a lot longer to sell. Buyers last year were canceling contracts with new home builders over rising interest rates, and today, builders are seeing an increase in demand for new homes. That demand is simply driven by the fact that there's very few resale homes available. And many builders have shifted their demand and they're focusing at the affordable end of the spectrum. But in order to understand this better, you need to go back and ask the question, why do people sell their homes? People sell their homes when they want to move or if they feel like they need to move. Older adults are sometimes aging out of their homes. Sometimes people move for employment reasons. Sometimes they move for a lifestyle choice. Sometimes people sell their home because they're getting divorced. So what happens if someone needs to move but they don't want to sell their home? They are locked in. I expect a large percentage of these homes to show up in the rental market. The forecast surge in demand for rental properties due to higher borrowing costs is likely to be satisfied by this source of unexpected supply of rental properties. Rental market vacancy statistics are maintained by large national brokerages and they tend to focus on the larger scale commercial rental properties. Individual single-family homes in the rental market tend to fall below their radar. This could result in market vacancy metrics that are inaccurate over the coming months. Dr. Doug Duncan shared demographic data on household formation. Young adults are living at home with parents for longer than almost any time in history. The primary catalyst for household formation is permanent relationships and making babies. This generation is about 2 years delayed in household formation compared with the previous generation, and the median age for first-time homebuyers is 34 years of age. In 2019, the average household spent 18.3% of their household income on their mortgage, and in 2023, that number has risen to 30.7%. Affordability is reaching crisis proportions, especially for first-time homebuyers who risk being priced out of the market for a long time to come. And new home construction is currently at the equivalent of 2019 levels. The folks at Fannie Mae are reporting a shortage of housing, somewhere between 4 to 5 million units. But this number does not take into account the massive shadow inventory of homes that may eventually come back into the resale market. I'm talking about the 2 million short-term rentals. How many of those are going to stay as short-term rentals? And I'm also talking about the nearly 10 million second homes. People own second homes only for a phase during their life. They don't keep them forever. For now, we can expect a large percentage of the locked-in homes that would otherwise be sold to enter the rental market. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.